Hey guys, it's me Ito again. We're basically going to take off from where we last left off, and which is basically using this idea of, the numbers to refer to the chords. As I said in the last video, 1, 4, and 5 are going to be major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7 is that diminished chord. Okay? Just to get right into it, usually when people ask me for some help, what they're playing when it comes to piano, they just want to make their playing sound a little bit more, just nicer, a little bit thicker, to fill in more, a little bit prettier, and, not so elementary. So, and it's not really about knowing so much. Just a few little tricks that you can use to take your playing from one level to the next level. Okay? And it's not as hard as you think. So if you just want to dedicate some time and some effort, I guarantee you'll be playing much better soon. Okay, so let's get right into it. Just for example, people, they don't want to do a plain, they want to do something like, okay, so I didn't do too much more, but I just filled it in, and it just sounds a little bit more professional. It sounds a little bit more clean. It sounds more sophisticated, the sound. Okay? So, basically, this is a little trick that I came up with, when I first started playing piano, because it was one of those things where I had to get in, and I just had to start playing well. I had already knew how to play guitar, but I needed to get on piano and sound good, basically. So I figured, instead of all this jumping around, C, F, G, D, A, and all that jumping, sometimes I would look at the professional players play, and they wouldn't even be doing as much, but it would sound nicer than all that jumping around. And so I just sat down and I came up with this thing where if you take a 5 chord, and remember, if we're in the key of C, we have 8 notes in the scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then if we put numbers to those notes, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So we go to the 5, our 5 chord, G, we make the G chord off of it, which is the 5 again is major. So if we suspend that, which is you raise up the third, G, B, D, 1, 3, 5. If we raise that up a half step, that's a suspended chord. Okay? So one thing that I learned is that if you take a 5 chord, and this especially works well in ballads or slow songs, if you take a 5 chord, suspend it, and instead of changing your bass and your right hand all the time, you can just suspend the 5 chord and just change your bass, and it sounds much prettier. So if I was to do something like Temprano yo te buscaré, de madrugada yo me acercaré a ti, or here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. We could already see that sounds nice, but if we try to jump that around in the more elementary fashion, it sounds, you're doing more, but it sounds not as good. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether one. So we can see that all that jumping around, you're moving, but it doesn't sound as good as when you stay more still. So basically, I would tell you to learn your inversions. An inversion is just a different way of playing that a given chord, any fingering. So here's the standard way of playing a C major. It's C in the root, E and G. Now, just because that's a C major chord, that doesn't mean we have to play it like that. As long as we have those 3 chords, those 3 notes in anywhere, it makes a C major chord. So we have our root position C major. If we start from E and just put the C up here, that would be a first inversion. You're inverting the chord. And then we could further move it up. So we started on C and we just started on E. So let's start on the next note, G now. So I would have to bring the E somewhere else, so I'll put it up here. So that's a second inversion. Okay? My preferences, I usually start on a second inversion and I'll throw in this note, a D, which is a ninth. It's also a second, but when you're going up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And I'll C, D, E, and G. So there's my C chord with the ninth in there, and then I'll just let go, and then I'll just play like that G suspended. See how easy it is? Instead of going from C to G like that, I'm just going C, G suspended. C9 to G suspended. And all you have to do is move your bass. A lot less movement, but it sounds a lot nicer. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. Another trick that you can use to instantly make your playing sound better is to change the sound. Try to fill it up, especially you guys and ladies that are playing in churches where there's not an abundance of musicians. You have to do as much as you can to fill up the sound. So what I like to do, I like to add a lot of bass on the low end of the keyboard. If you want to split the keyboard, piano on the right hand, left on the bass hand. Sometimes I use 2 keyboards. I'll have piano on the bottom and I'll use this top keyboard as a bass. You just gotta be, you just gotta be, I'm sorry. Just gotta come up with some ideas. You know your situation in the church you're in or whatever area you're playing in, and you just gotta use that to the best of your ability. Okay. So here's an example in changing the sound. That was the piano sound before. So now I'll use those same chords just with a nicer sound. Okay. I added a lot of bass on the keyboard, and here we go. See, it already sounds nicer. And then we take it down a little bit, slow it down. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether worthy, altogether worthy. And what I'll do sometimes when I play that G suspended chord, that G sus chord, I'll play the octave with my pinky. So it's 4 notes, okay? So it's 2 G's and then the C and the D. And like I said, you can keep that chord there. The trick is just try not to be so stale with it. Try to arpeggiate, which means don't play the chord as one body. Try to break up the notes. That's arpeggiating, nothing crazy. Just breaking up a chord. So here's straight, here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that. Sounds very corny. So, but if we arpeggiate that right hand, here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. Obviously, there's always exceptions. You can't always do that. But for the most part, especially when you're doing a ballad, it works out really well. Okay, I hope this helps you guys. And God bless you. And more coming soon.